Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. They are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Rescan your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
The depth of knowledge, fun, and entertainment you experience on Spectrum Television can never be overstated, especially when you get them all at once. At Spectrum Television, we start your day with insightful political and social discussion, a spotlight on Africa and the world's view. On well-being, we prioritize your health and mental space, staying fit and achieving goals. Stay updated with the business world of financial markets and global economic analysis. We bring you all the latest from the world of sports and cutting-edge innovations, looking at the future of tech on Tech Insights, and stay updated with the latest in entertainment and music on Entertainment Now. Our carefully crafted content is designed to broaden your horizons and keep you informed and entertained. You won't want to miss a minute.
Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions.
Watch Spectrum Television live on free-to-air.
Good afternoon and welcome to yet another exciting edition of the program Empower Her, brought to you for your viewing and listening pleasure by Spectrum TV. And as you can see today, I have delectable, beautiful and very intelligent women with me on the program. Of course, we'll be having very interesting, informative and educative conversations on breaking the silence, talking about the complications and erasing the suspicions around yeast infection for the girl child and the woman at large. And so today I have with me Miss Andy. I am very happy to have you on the program.
It's my pleasure.
All right. And I also have Mrs. Uduak. I'm very sure you know this face. We've had her once upon a time on Empower Her. And today she would be throwing more light on yeast infection in the life of a woman. Welcome, Mrs. Uduak.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. I am always very excited to have Mrs. Uduak on the program because she has all of those exciting killer smiles. And then you know that we are in for a good time, talk about information and education. Let's not waste so much time on, the introduction. My name is Rita Inung, and of course, I am your anchor and pilot on the program. Today, we are going to be talking about yeast infection, just like I said earlier. And I'm going to... You might be wondering why we have Mrs. Uduak in the house, and Mrs. Uduak has a very rich portfolio, and I'm not going to take away the excitement by doing the introduction for her. So let us meet Mrs. Uduak once again.
Okay, Mrs. Uduak Eseden, I'm a registered nurse.
Okay.
And I'm also passionate about maternal and child health.
Okay.
And I'm particular about the girl child.
Ooh, okay, she is very peculiar about the girl child. Let's meet you, Miss Andy.
Yeah,
My name is Endurance Jehu. I'm a registered nurse, and I also have an interest in the girl child.
Okay, so it's raining registered nurses in the studio this afternoon, and then you wonder why we're talking about yeast infection. Now, it is very important to note that there are a lot of superstitions surrounding yeast infection. There are a lot of myths surrounding it. Some persons will say it's a toilet infection, other persons will say it is a sexually transmitted infection. And today we have registered nurses in the building to clear all of those doubts. And let's start with you, Mrs. Udwak. Give us an overview of yeast infection.
Okay, I'll be keeping it very simple for everyone's understanding. So when we talk about yeast infection, we just simply mean that it's an infection that is caused by a group of fungus. That's the Candida group.
Okay.
Now, this Candida group leads to an infection. It's not as though they are not existing, but they turn to become a problem when there's an alteration in the balance. So there are different things that could lead to this alteration in the balance. So it becomes a problem when there's alteration in the balance. But these infections, these bacteria rather, or these fungus are already existing in our body, in our bodies. But when there's alteration in the vaginal pH, that's when it becomes a problem. It could be due to antibiotics, could be due to a lifestyle we adopted. Yeah, any of those could cause an alteration. So when this occurs, that's when it becomes an infection.
All right. So I need you to look into the eyes of our audience this afternoon and tell them that yeast infection is not a toilet-prone infection.
Please, it is not a toilet-prone infection. It's not spiritual, and it doesn't mean you're dirty. It's just an infection that occurs due to an alteration in the pH of the vagina, or due to a particular substance that leads to an alteration in the pH of the vagina.
All right. Now let's come over to you, Miss Andy. Okay, so there are a lot of many reasons people will give as to why young girls battle yeast infection. So I want you, just as Mrs. Udwak has stated the possible causes of yeast infection, take us through the symptoms a young girl might experience when she has to battle yeast infection.
Okay. Some very common symptoms that you may notice is itching around the genital areas. And then another symptom you notice is discharges, whitish discharges, that is called a cottage, that is like a cottage cheese, sticky, so that is it. Then you can also find rashes, reddish rashes around the genital area.
All right. So when can we really say yeast infection has gotten complicated? When can we really say, because I will share the story of Emily right here. Emily has been battling yeast infection since she turned 16. Now, we see it rearing its head once in a while and disappearing. There's been drugs in the mix like fluconazole, there's been antibiotics, there's been a lot of sitting on hot water with salt, hoping that yeast infection disappears and never comes back again. Can we say yeast infection then is complicated? And what could be the possible reasons why?
Well, it could be that, like she mentioned, lifestyle and abuse of antibiotics. So let's say you treat yeast infection and then you go back to those previous lifestyle that actually brought them back, you have a reoccurrence. So that is why it is advised that to take antibiotics only when it is prescribed, only when it is necessary, because abuse of antibiotics can lead to yeast infections. Another thing is we also advise that females wear cotton underwears because it's breathable. And then another thing is keep your genital area dry. Avoid wearing wet underwears because they'll provide a good space for the yeast to grow.
All right. And so coming back to you, Mrs. Udwak, you've been mentioning lifestyle factors, lifestyle habits, and it is throwing me to a place of confusion. And so I want you to expatiate on that. Tell us about these lifestyle habits that could cause recurring yeast infection episodes?
Okay, for instance, in the cases of young women that may want to get vaginal wash, they'll tell you need your vagina, you should get your vagina to smell good, you should get your vagina to smell nice, and in the bid to maybe boost self-esteem or try to feel among, they tend to get these substances. These substances could alter the pH of the vagina, thus giving room for the yeasts to strive and lead to an infection, because the vaginal pH is supposed to be acidic. So when once it is slightly alkaline, there is room for any form of bacteria or infection to strive. Another thing is using scented soaps. Washing of the vagina washes itself on its own, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't wash the genital region, but you shouldn't be inserting your hands in there to wash the vagina, because the vagina naturally washes itself. So when once you try to wash it for it, you turn to alter the pH of the vagina, so infection could strive there. Then for those that are into sports, that go to the gym, you shouldn't use those gym outfits and go out. After the gym, you should have a bath and move. Then for those that have sweet tooth, I have sweet tooth, I love sweet things. Yeast infection strives or loves sugary things. So when you take a lot of sugar, it tends to breed on that. So you should reduce sugary intake. Take a food that has the right proportion of adequate diet and drink a lot of water instead of taking things that are sugary. So these are just to mention. Then there are some people that love tight underwears. Just like she said, you should wear a free cotton underwear. That way it will enable you feel comfortable and you won't have sweaty regions where the yeast infection can strive.
And so we keep talking about antibiotics. We keep saying that when we overuse antibiotics, it could be a problem to the pH of the vagina. Now we see some people taking Ampiclox, we see some people taking some other tablets, and they say it was prescribed over the counter. Now, Mrs. Uduak, what advice do you have to give to young ladies who notice some of these symptoms of yeast infection and decide to treat themselves with these antibiotics?
Okay, I would advise that once a young lady notices any of the symptoms, she should get herself to the lab and get tested. Because when you're being tested in the lab, you're going to be, when the results comes out, what happens is that you'll be shown the medications that are resistant to this bacteria, to this fungus, and you'd also be shown the medications that are sensitive, the ones that can actually treat them. So it could be that you just go over the counter and get a medication that doesn't actually treat it, but it is resistant to it. So it could likely reoccur. And when you notice that it keeps reoccurring, you should also get your partner tested and treated as well.
All right, coming to you, Mrs. Andy. When can we really say yeast infection has become complicated? Because we get to find out that there are simple occurrences of yeast infection that disappears after 2 to 3 days, and there are recurring yeast infection that can be said to be complicated. So what signs will a young lady get to see to understand that this yeast infection at this point has become complicated? When do we even know that we have to see a doctor?
Well, normally, once you start seeing these unusual occurrences, the normal thing is to see a doctor so that the doctor can prescribe medications for you to use. And then when you notice that this keeps reoccurring, it could be that it is not yeast infection, because there are a lot of other infections that can appear like that. That is why, coming back to what she said, you get to the lab and get tested, because a lot of infections can present with the same symptoms. Yes.
All right. And so we'll come back to you, Mrs. Uduak. let's talk about the fact that she has opened another side there is to this issue. There are a lot of, you know, infections that could come with the same symptoms. A lot of persons share the thought that BV is not talked about as much as yeast infection is talked about. Now, I want you to, you know, give a word to young girls out there. Get to talk to young girls and make them understand those illnesses, those infections that are not toilet prone or sexually related. Let them know that they can actually go to the doctor or go to the pharmacist without any fear of judgment or condemnation.
Okay, like we've already established, for yeast infection, it is not sexually transmitted, even though you can get it through contacts with an infected partner, but it is not sexually transmitted. So once you notice itching around the vagina, it could be of any, it could have any cause. When you have redness around the genital region, when you have swelling, when you notice that while urinating you feel pain during urination, when you notice that you feel pain during sexual intercourse, you should visit a doctor. These are things that could be caused by any bacteria. Okay. So it may not necessarily be yeast infection. It could be a PID. Okay. It could be a pelvic inflammatory disease. Okay. So you should always make yourself be number one. When once you notice anything outside the normal, you should walk to a lab, get tested, go with your results to the doctor. Or if you're not sure of what tests to run, just walk into a hospital, get their card, give your symptoms and your sign, talk to the doctor on call, tell him or her what you're experiencing. The person would know what tests to guide you to carry out, then know what exactly you're treating, instead of just going to get antibiotics that will reduce the symptoms. The symptoms may subside or may not subside, and it may still reoccur in the future. So your body may get used to this antibiotics, and when you actually need it, it may not function again for you. Okay. So that's it.
All right, quickly, for the want of time, I'm going to say that you're going to give an advice to young ladies right now. Now, a lot of young ladies let yeast infection become complicated before they start seeking help, because they are scared of judgment, because they are scared of condemnation. So they self-medicate, sit on hot water and salt. They apply antifungal creams on the region, and they just try to do everything that can take away the symptoms, just so that they do not come face to face with the doctor and have this judgmental glare all around them. So I want you to talk to them in 1 minute each. Miss ND and Mrs. Udwak, please leave a word of advice for young ladies out there.
Okay, so quickly, yeast infection is not a sexually transmitted infection. It can be prevented, lifestyle changes. So, but if you take into practice these lifestyle changes and it still happens, do not feel like the healthcare workers will stigmatize you or something. Put your health first. Get to the lab, get yourself tested, see a physician for prescribed medications, and stick to them.
All right. Ms. Udwak, let's hear you.
Okay. Yeast infection is not a death sentence. 3 out of every 4 young women you meet has yeast infection. So it is best you speak up and get informed. Let's talk about it. Get information, because anybody around you could complain, but because you've had the experience, you'll be able to reach out to this person. Get yourself treated. In short, you shouldn't even care what anybody says, because your health is most important. As long as you're feeling good, as long as you're getting better, whatever anybody has to say shouldn't bother you.
All right. And then I would add that if you have gone through the discomfort that comes with yeast infection, you would understand why you need to speak up and get help. Okay. And I hope we've been able to demystify all of the mystery around yeast infection. It is not sexually related. It is not given to you by the toilet. 3 out of every 4 girls battle yeast infection. I did not say so. Registered nurses have said so. Okay, so go out there and get the help you need, not over the counter, but make sure you get the test done at a lab by a professional and seek the help you need. And so I want to say thank you so much, Miss Andy, and thank you so much, Mrs. Udwak, for being on the program. And thank you so much, my amazing viewers, for being on the other side of the divide. Do you want to keep a date with me next week, Friday, at the same time, and Power will come your way. But for now, I am Rita Inu, and I've been your anchor. Do well to usher the weekend in with a large smile on your face and enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.